Toto Wolff believes Mercedes' woes this season underline the fact that F1's budget cap is working, as his team is unable to spend its way out of trouble. Mercedes was brought crashing back down to earth at Spa-Francorchamps over the weekend, as its level of performance was in stark contrast to its upward rise prior to the summer break. It led to Wolff describing his team's qualifying display in particular as the worst he had experienced during his 10-year involvement with the sport. Unlike in previous seasons, however, when all teams could spend as much as they wanted to resolve issues, they are now constrained by a budget cap introduced last year for exactly the situation the German manufacturer finds itself in. Mercedes is unable to trial the number of ideas it would previously have done in the hope of finding a cure. Asked as to the difficulties in being able to experiment due to the cap, Wolff replied, "Look at the chassis. We wouldn't be able to introduce a chassis at this stage of the season. We could go for being massively overweight, which we haven't been able to dial out because we're trying parts on the car in order to solve our various issues, so we can't afford that. Full stop." What was aimed by introducing the cost cap has absolutely been achieved, that the big teams can't just throw money at it. Wolff has confirmed that Mercedes is approaching a critical point in the year when it has to decide on a design path for next season in a number of areas. The most eye-catching element of the W13 has been its disappearing side pods concept, which has proven hit and miss. The question for Wolff and the aerodynamics team is whether Mercedes pursues this idea with its W14 or opts to explore different avenues. The chassis, however, is one of the many areas under consideration. "We haven't committed to a concept for next year," said Wolff. "There are still internal discussions going on. It's quite difficult to say. What is a concept? Is it the chassis in its current shape? What is that? Is it weight distribution? Or is it where you can put the mechanical and aero balance? Is it the bodywork concept? All of these different pillars in the car, which are evaluated, which could mean some of it goes, some of it stays, and that's what we're looking at the moment. The time to make hard and fast decisions is approaching, however, with Wolff adding, there are various cut-off points relating to the various parts of the car that happen in the next few weeks. You've got to commit to a chassis concept, to a suspension layout. How do you do your cooling, your radiators, how do you integrate the engine, etc, etc. That is something we really need to decide in the next few weeks. So September, October maybe, October the latest. And to rub salt in the wounds further, Christian Horner has jokingly thanked Toto Wolff for F1's new technical directive following Red Bull's dominant 1-2 finish at the Belgian Grand Prix. Much was made of F1's new floor rules for Spa, with many tipping Red Bull and Ferrari to be negatively impacted by them. So far, it seems that they've had the complete opposite effect, with Max Verstappen enjoying his most dominant weekend, winning from 14th on the grid. Verstappen now leads teammate Sergio Perez by 93 points and could win his second title as early as Singapore next month. Speaking after the race, Horner believes the circuit characteristics was a big reason for Red Bull's performance advantage rather than the technical directive. On the face of it, I'd probably have to thank Toto for the TD. In all seriousness, I think this circuit has played to our strengths, Horner said. We have a very efficient car. We've found a very good setup, and Max has just been in phenomenal form the very first lap in first practice. Obviously, strategically, we chose to take the penalty here and 14th became 13th technically as the starting point with everybody else. But, of course, Max still has to navigate his way through the pack and he did that very efficiently over the first couple of laps. So he hit the front car quicker than we could have ever expected. And the soft tyre seemed to work for him as well in that stint. Thereafter, the pace we had with Max and Checo was enough that he got past Carlos and bring home one of the most dominant performances that we've had as a team since either 2010 or 2013. Horner revealed that the technical directive hasn't changed the way Red Bull set up their car at Spa. A lot was made and a lot of expectation was put on that TD, so perhaps it hurts others more than it hurt ourselves, he added. So we haven't really changed the way we operate the car. Obviously, grounding here has always been an issue because of Eau Rouge, but that's not unique to us. That's the same for every team. Not only did Red Bull overcome any issues that they may have had with the directives, Max Verstappen extended his lead in the championships with a dominant display, coming from 14th on the grid. The victory was made all the more ominous for Red Bull's rivals by the fact it came in the first of 3 back-to-back races, with races in the Netherlands and Italy to follow over the next 2 weekends. Verstappen, who claimed his first title last season has been an imperious form, said it was tough to judge whether he was producing the best form of his career. It's always difficult to say, but I'm just enjoying the moment, Verstappen said. I think also everyone in the team, we are having a good time, but we are also very focused on what we want to achieve. At the moment, we are achieving that, but we always want more. While Verstappen was modest about his assessments of his own driving, the consensus in the paddock is that the 24-year-old is producing a special campaign. Verstappen, who has won 9 of the 14 races this season, was in a league of his own throughout the weekend at Spa, comfortably producing the fastest time in qualifying despite opting not to go for a second run. Perez accepted Verstappen was on another level, while Sky Sports F1 pundits Johnny Herbert and Paul di Resta also offered high praise for the Dutchman. The result throughout this weekend, in many respects, has been very scary because of the speed that Max has had, Herbert said. Literally from the first 2 minutes on Friday, he was on it straight away and was amazingly fast, and he just carried it through the weekend. This is the best I've seen Max drive, I think, at the moment. I think he's getting more and more complete, and that's a scary thing. Verstappen had risen to 8th by the time a safety car came out at the end of the first lap at Spa and scythed his way through the field to take the lead on the 12th circuit before easing to victory. It's an outfit that was performing last year and they've kind of had this momentum, di Resta said. Somehow they're unstoppable, but I think the biggest weapon they've got at this moment is Max Verstappen. Where would they be if he was in the Ferrari? You'd probably be in a similar position because that's the consistency, what he's able to do, remain calm, get the best out of the team. And you kind of think, where is the end going to be with this? They can already probably start to focus on next year given their performance, and that's quite worrying for teams up and down the pit lane. And Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko also weighed in as he spoke about the new technical directives. Tweaks to the technical regulations to close a loophole in F1 car floor designs came into effect at the Belgian GP, which many believed would impact Red Bull and Ferrari. However, any concerns Red Bull might have had were extinguished with a dominant 1-2 victory at Spa-Francorchamps, with Max Verstappen taking his 9th win of the season to extend his championship lead to 93 points. When discussing the team's advantage at the top of both championships, Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko was asked if their intention is to switch focus onto the 2023 car. It is our philosophy to keep developing. The chassis will remain pretty much the same next year, Marko told media, including RacingNews365.com. He then made reference to the recent regulation changes, which were supported by Mercedes, by joking that they had hurt Mercedes more than expected. Maybe we will have to change something about the chassis because of Toto's new guidelines, he said. They worked very well this weekend. We thank him. It seems like Mercedes has fallen back even further. Red Bull's Belgian GP result was their 4th 1-2 of the season, with both drivers now occupying the top 2 positions in the Drivers' Championship. The result means that Red Bull now also have a 118-point lead in the Constructors' Championship with 8 rounds to go. Marko was ecstatic with their dominant display at Spa-Francorchamps and highlighted Perez's improvements following his criticism of his qualifying performance the day before. Everything was perfect. The car, the tyres, we had it easy, added Marko. We are satisfied with Perez's performance. If you are more than a second behind during the first practice, then this is a good result. The F1 calendar continues this weekend with Max Verstappen's home Grand Prix.